in the end, God is going to stand and ask you, Sophie, what did I give you? You who is listening to me right now, God is going to ask you what happened to that vision that I placed down on the inside of you when you were sleeping, when you were driving at that light, that voice you had that your pastor did not understand, that your mother did not understand, that your friends did not understand. Are you going to let it go so that people can clap for you, so that people can love you? So after that time, another storm blew up in my life where I started being called out of my name again. She's disobedient. How dare you, your spiritual leaders tell you to not open the altar and you still open it. Another storm started brewing up again in my church. People started telling me I was disobedient. I did not hear God. That wasn't God that I am serving. That it was a lot. And I said, here we go again. I started hurting again, but this time in ministry. This time it was no longer about me, but I was hurting for what I was doing. And most people never showed face in that place ever again. But there were those that were coming to feed from that altar. God started bringing new people. God started bringing people I did not even think about, because I had built this foundation before on people that I knew, people that were already in the church. And I remember one time, because I knew it was God, I sat down in my prayer room and I said, God, this was you, but what are you saying about the COVID? He told me, every person that steps foot in that place will not get COVID. And he told me, even though someone comes in there sick, they will leave healed. I was like, this is insane. But I held on to that word. Like the same word that the Lord told you that you need to hold on to. There is that word that he gave you in your secret place that everybody seems to not understand. You try to air it out, but they're like, no, she's naive. You are naive. You're not making sense. You did not hear God. Hold on to that word, because that is your key. I held on to that word. I prayed for the altar before people came in. I prayed as they left. And I remember there is a lady who gave me a testimony. She said, Sophie, my husband was sick, bedridden of COVID. But this lady kept coming onto the altar with her kids. And she said, I treated this man all through. I took care of him. I gave him medication and everything. She was at risk of getting COVID. But she took care of this man, and never did she ever stay home feeling like she's sick. She came to the altar. She continued coming, and she did not get sick. And I knew that the Lord was with me, like he is with you in your situation. I move on. The people, again, it was like I wore this banner of the rebellious girl in church, the one that does not listen to their spiritual leaders, the one that does not obey their pastor, the one, people started calling me names, and I could feel this energy. Every time I walked into church, I would feel like somebody's putting this word on me. I would feel like somebody's saying something. I could feel the energy that had gone back into the rejection again. But this time I did not turn back to alcohol or the groups of people I used to hang out with. This rejection for some reason was chaotic, but I would find my peace amidst it. It was like, it wasn't my pain. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like it felt worth it, because I was fighting for something that was bigger than me. And I remember at some point I said, God, how can people reject me this bad knowing what I do? They would pick on the smallest things that people, shouldn't even matter. Because I remember that time, there is a time my by then boyfriend with the people I was helping, I met this lady who had nowhere to stay with her kids, and I asked my boyfriend by then to give them the apartment that I used to live in before I started this altar, before I moved into this apartment where I started the altar, so that this lady can move in, because she was about to be thrown out in the streets. My boyfriend accepted and gave her the apartment. He moved in with me, but the moving in this time, because I wasn't fornicating anymore, he moved into the bedroom where I was sleeping, and I moved into the prayer room. And every single day from that day, I slept in that prayer room. And the people who used to see this gentleman walk into my house, because he wasn't coming to the altar by then, they started picking on that. They started using it as a weapon towards me, like, hey, listen, how can you listen to that girl? What kind of God is she preaching, living with a man in the same house and they're now married? But I would go to God, I'd be like, but God, I'm sleeping in the prayer room. Can I tell them? And he said, no, don't tell them. Do not explain yourself. Do not tell them that you are sleeping in the prayer room. I wanted to stand on the mountaintop and tell these guys, I'm not sleeping with the man. But they say, God told me, don't say anything. Don't explain yourself. It is about me and you right now. How I see you is what matters. You are what matters to me. Don't tell them. And I felt like every time they stood and picked on me, I was like, I can explain, but God shut my mouth and I couldn't explain myself. So for a year and I don't know, so many months, a couple months, I slept on that floor in the prayer room. I had very spiritual people call me, ask me, Sophia, are you sleeping with this person? And I would say no. And I could see it on their eyes that they don't believe me. But at this point, I knew it was only God that would understand, because he knew what was going on. So at some point, I was like, you know what, why do I even try? Let them think what they think, as long as I am right with God. I walked my journey, served. The fellowship started getting people that are different. Young people's lives started being touched. And I was like, this is good. I started sharing my testimony, things that were so unspeakable in my life, the things I used to hide, the things I used to be ashamed about. I started sharing them with these people. And every now and then, somebody would come and tell me, Sophie, when I heard your testimony, my life changed. I stopped fornicating. When I heard your testimony, I said, let me go serve the Lord. God would throw me small nuggets to just remind me that what I am doing is good. But the voices in the rejection in the city, the rejection from the spiritual leaders, the rejection was too loud. That sometimes I cried. And I was like, God, can you make them understand that what I am doing is good? People started rumors, I'm trying to start up a church. I'm trying to get money out of this. I'm trying to do that. Was it true? No. But God knew the truth. And one day I prayed to God. I was like, God, I am doing this for you. Can you take me away from my church? That I go somewhere I'm wanted. And he told me, Sophia, stay in that place. That's where I wanted you. As I was ministering, I still sought refuge from other churches. I still went to other pastors who kind of like made it into a weapon, manipulated me, fought my battles, empowered me to continue. Some empowered me, they did good. And then some users used it as an opportunity to manipulate me, because now I was struggling with the lack of covering, because the spiritual father that the Lord had given me, I could not communicate with him anymore. I could not tell him about my struggles, because I was at some point too proud to even go tell him I'm struggling. Because why? You don't agree with what I'm doing. Why should I come and tell you what I'm going through? But God will still tell me, stay in that place. And because there was no communication, I would not even know if he would have helped me or not. But I'd cut off all communication, and I held on to, I connected with people I wasn't supposed to connect with. I went to people, crying to people I shouldn't have gone crying to, because now I was spiritually fatherless. But God kept on bringing me things to show me, to bring me back, to help me rekindle your relationship with your pastor. Do this, go fix this, because, and I would not know why God wanted me to stay in this place, but he told me stay. And I stayed the whole time. I was like, if I'm going to obey what God is telling me, let me obey him altogether, even in the pain, even in the suffering. Let me hear his voice, because if I can now stand and be like, God told me to obey him and do this and continue opening the altar, I might as well obey him when he tells me to stay in the place where I don't want to be. I might as well just follow him all through, the pain, the good and the bad, because what other option did I have? So let me speak to you. When God has told you to do something, it does not matter how many people are talking against it. It does not matter how many people do not understand the vision that he has placed on your heart. What matters is you doing the job. It does not matter how much pain you are going through, or how many people have to leave you. Because in that one day, in that one moment when I felt like all the people I knew did not show up at the altar, making the ministry I was doing non-purposeful, or feel like it doesn't matter, this one gentleman showed up. And I don't know, maybe the vision that God placed on your heart is after that one, because that is the type of God we serve. Are you going to let it go so that people can clap for you, so that people can love you? Are you going to be a hiring that the Bible talks about, that the moment there is trouble, they walk out? Are you going to be that person? Or you are going to hold on to the voice of God? Are you holding on to that vision? Are you holding on to that thing that God placed on your heart, even though it is painful? When I started this altar, I started taking myself out of the picture, because now the people's smiles were making me feel happy. The young people that were in the presence of God and not in the club is what mattered to me. But I could have never seen that if I was still complaining, if it was about me, if I did not do this particular altar. I would never have seen that. I would never would have realized the impact I was making to these people's lives by sharing my testimony, which testimony was built in pain. I would have never seen that. If I had not gone through the pain I'd gone through, if people had not rejected me, there is no any way I would have ended up on the streets for me to start letting go of the things I was doing. If people did not reject me, I wouldn't have gotten the idea for me to start bringing young people, to start telling them about my life so that they don't go through what I went through. I would have never realized all that pain. I would have never touched all the lives that I've touched with my testimony. The altar changed my life. Was it handed over to me? No. It is not going to be handed to you. You are going to work and fight for it, because in the end, God is going to stand and ask you, Sophie, what did I give you? You who is listening to me right now, God is going to ask you what happened to that vision that I placed down on the inside of you when you were sleeping, when you were driving at that light, that voice you had that your pastor did not understand, that your mother did not understand, that your friends did not understand, that the people that have surrounded you felt like, oh, this is too much, you're being too much, you're losing your senses, you're losing your life. What did you do with it? And you will not be able to say, oh, people hated me so much. God loves you, and He's always sending these voices to come and pull you out of those holes. He is with you. When all the others disappear, there is one that is going to show up. When the other voices that are so loud, there's going to be that one voice that is going to correct you and show you the way. I stopped doing a lot of things in my life because now I had a sense of responsibility to the people that were coming to my house. I could never play secular music in my house because the other lady told me now it had been separated for the work of God. I could not let people curse in my house. I could not let people say certain things in my house. I could not bring certain things in my house. Why? Because I was marked by purpose, and so are you. That pain that you are enduring, that rejection that people are putting all over you, it is purpose. But God is trying to see, are you going to be able to stand on my word even when the whole world hates you? Are you going to be able to stand on my word even if you're crying yourself to sleep every night? Are you going to stand on His word even if it doesn't make sense to you? Let God be your validation. If it is well with God, don't be like, oh, people are looking at me like this, people are doing this to me. No. Some of us, the rejection that we receive in ministry has made us stop even hearing the voice of God. Because what will my pastor say? What will my friends say? You got to sit down and ask yourself, what is God saying? Because if the vision has not been placed on your pastor's life, sometimes he may not get it. He is going to guide you towards that goal. We bless God for the pastors that are after God's heart. We bless God for them. But some of your leaders are not going to get it. You will try to explain it to them, but they will not get it. So go back to the author, go back to the one who gave it to you and ask him, how do I do this? Because he's the one who has directed me. His relationship with me became the validation I needed. Before, I was singing my sadness to everybody who could listen to it, but I'd gotten to a point where by now, it didn't matter. If God said keep quiet, I would keep quiet. If God said go, I would go. If God said jump, I would ask how high. That is what you need. You need to stay in that pain so that you persevere and come out victorious and come out, do the work that you're supposed to do as I stand right now. I see myself at the altar. We moved from the apartment and we came into a place. But every Monday, I see what the Lord is doing in these people's lives. And I keep on saying, God, I will go as long as you send me. Would I have been here? If that day they told me to close the altar, I closed it. If that day I felt like I should leave this church, I walked away. Would I have been here? No. So that pain has purpose in your life. That pain is what is going to birth what God purposed for your life. But He has to know, can He trust you? When all people don't show up at the altar, can He trust you? When those views don't come up, can He trust you? When there is a storm and you have to go to the streets, can He trust you to walk in that weather and still go preach His word because there could be somebody passing by? Can He trust you? That pain is a gift. Can God trust you with pain? Can God trust you with the rejection? Can that rejection turn into something beautiful? Can you hold on a little bit for you to sit in that place and let God turn your rejection and pain and manipulation and everything that is happening to you right now? Can you sit down in that place and let Him turn beauty out of ashes? Can you hold on? Because that's what He requires from you. And as I came out victorious, and now I'm sharing my testimony, you will come out victorious. I love you, and the Lord loves you. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so that every time we upload an episode, you'll be there listening and, enjoying this fellowship. Thank you so much. God bless you.